Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, September 13th, 2015. This is episode 1220. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you all the ingredients you need to cook fresh, delicious meals with simple step-by-step recipes right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 2 meals free by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. And by Samsung SmartThings. Samsung SmartThings lets you monitor, control, and secure your home from wherever you are using your smartphone. Right now, Tech Guy listeners get 10% off any featured SmartThings kit and free shipping in the U.S. when you go to smartthings.com/TTG. And don't forget to use the offer code TTG at checkout. And by the new Epson Workforce printers powered by Precision Core. Workforce is an award-winning line of all-in-one printers for your home office, your small to large business, or your corporate work groups. Visit Epson.com to find out more. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, home theater, digital photography, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. Questions, comments, suggestions. Let's talk high tech. What do you say? Phone, I said the phone. Website, techguylabs.com. Hello, Heather Hammond.
Hello, Leo.
How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm loving my new phone.
Oh, goody.
Not an iPhone.
Oh, I don't need to hear about it then.
Is that a shocker? Not an iPhone. It's the new Moto X phone, which I just got on Friday. I don't know yet about battery life. We'll see, but it charges really fast. So this is the new thing. And I don't know, do you agree? This is the new thing with phones. We make them, and by the way, Apple not playing this game. Bravo, Apple. We make them super high resolution screens, Quad HD, a lot of pixels. We make them thinner and lighter. We take out the removable battery so we could put more battery in there, but yet we don't quite get through the day. Maybe 12 hours. In kind of normal use, off and on use. If you use it nonstop, 10 hours. That's how the websites and the magazines test it, right? They just run videos until it dies. And on a good day, the big phones now, the ones that are hot, the Note 5, I suspect this one, we'll see, will go 10 hours. That's considered good battery life. But to me, that doesn't translate to a full day, even without full-time use. Because you're not looking at the phone all the time. Sometimes it's off. 12, 13 hours, though. You see, if you get up at 7, that means dinner time, you need to charge it again. And this is what this is how they respond to that. Instead of improving battery life, remember, they can't do that with a better battery. Battery technology is not advancing as fast as the rest of this stuff. So they increase battery life by putting a bigger battery in. They're not really willing to do that. So now they're doing what they call fast charging. So the idea is you sit down at dinner, you plug it in, and one of the things, the selling points, I think, on this Moto X is the fastest charging phone out there. So in an hour, it's back to 100%. Just to get up from dinner, now you go out clubbing, which is, of course, something I do all the time. Is that what we really want? I think we want a 20-hour battery is what we really want. I haven't had this long enough to know yet. It does charge really fast. I've seen that. Probably by next week I'll have a good idea. The week after that, well, this one goes in the trash because it's the... No, it doesn't. I'll give it to somebody worthy, or probably I might keep it. This might be the Android phone, certainly the Android phone of the year. We'll see. Note 5 is pretty good too. It's neck and neck. iPhone, actually a bunch of announcements this week from Apple. And really, I'm burying the lead by starting with the Moto X Pure Edition. But that's what Apple did, didn't they? Their announcement on Wednesday started with the Apple Watch 2.0. and and Hermes bands for the Apple Watch. Have you seen that band? There's a few. They're kind of kooky looking. There's one that double wraps. And for the first time, this Apple Watch doesn't say Apple on it. It says Hermes, the French designer, on it, and it's kind of different shape. They made one just for Hermes. Same guts, I'm sure. That's what they started with. And then we thought this was an iPhone announcement. Then they start talking about the iPad Pro. What? What? I think looking at all of these announcements, that probably is the most important thing Apple announced this week. We knew everything, didn't we? All the rumor mills are right in every respect about all this stuff, with one exception, which I'll get to in a little bit. We knew the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus would be basically the same shape with a better camera, 12 megapixels. That's, by the way, a lot. I know, the Note 5 has 16. This new Moto X has 21. After I think 12's plenty, unless you're making billboards. And really, it's about the software behind it at this point, and Apple's got the best. So I think I can't wait to play with it anyway. I haven't yet, but on the 25th, they come out. We all got up at midnight yesterday and ordered. Those of us who, in the in the Apple fanboy class, got up and did that. You can probably go into a store on the 25th. Although I note, if you look, that many of these phones now, certainly all of the 6S Plus, the big one, are sold out. You'll be waiting a month or so to get them. Yeah. And in China, all versions are sold out. I mean, that doesn't tell us how many there were total, but good response, let's put it that way. But nothing new. This new 3D touch that you press hard, harder, hardest on the screen and different things happen. Okay, we'll see. That we all knew that was going to happen. It was the iPad Pro that we also knew, but I can't think, when you see the Pencil, which is the stylus that Apple designed, and you see it working on this 12.9-inch iPad, I think eyes are opening to the idea that this isn't another iPad, really. This is, I've always said the iPad is all about consumption, watching videos, reading books, reading magazines, surfing the web, doing email. iPad is really not about making stuff. It's like a traditional computer might be, although most people use them the same way, just to consume. This new one, I think, is a new kind of way of thinking about computing. Microsoft knew this was coming. That's why they did Windows 8, which was a desktop operating system and a touch operating system mushed together in a very ungainly way. Some people say, well, the iPad, it's just the Surface. Yeah, it's not, I don't think, because it is using iOS, which is a touch-first operating system. It's really going to be interesting to see if the applications come out. And some are already there, Apple certainly, with iMovie and GarageBand, that really take advantage of a big screen and touch. Imagine your tablet, your iPad, turning into a mixing board. And full size almost. I mean, you really have control. I think this is a very exciting platform. We'll watch. Won't be out till November, so nothing to talk about really until we use it. That Pencil looks great. The keyboard looks terrible. And the folks who played with the keyboard on Wednesday at the Apple event said, yeah, it is terrible. And it looks just like what Microsoft's doing for the Surface, their Type keyboards. I feel like Apple should have left it out because it just causes people to say, oh, no, it's Apple's copying the Surface. In fact, you could probably say that across the board, that in every respect, Apple was just playing catch-up. The only thing really new is the 3D touch, and that question marks about that. But the thing that everybody thought would happen that didn't happen, the new Apple TV, like a Nintendo Wii, you can play games in the living room. Same kind of, the remote works like a Wiimote. It allows you to speak just like the Fire TV does and search and say, play James Bond movies, and then show me James Bond movies with Sean Connery and things like that. That's nice. I think that'll be useful. It does have a couple of features I like. I can't remember what the command is. It's something like, what did he just say? And it'll rewind it 15 seconds. That's me. What? What did he just say? Do you ever do that watching a movie? What did he just say? Rewinds it 15. I love that idea. There's also a skip ahead, which advertisers won't like. Skip ahead 7 minutes. Let's just skip this ad block. Not sure I like that, but I'll use it. But the thing that they left out that everybody, all the rumor mill had said they would do, and maybe you remember this, I even said this, the new Apple TV is going to be the hub for HomeKit, for their home automation system. Not a word. Did they leave it out, or does it not have that capability? Interesting. Apple's always surprising, isn't it? 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. The website, again, techguylabs.com. That's all you need to know. We'll go to the phones. I'd love to hear what you think next. But I am liking this Moto X. Amazing breath controls. Thank you, Richard. Normally on Sundays I park right out front, and there was a spot waiting for me, but I couldn't get into it because the guy parked he covered 2 spaces. So I had to pull into the garage, and then I thought, oh, what should I do? Because I saw somebody leaving out front here, and I thought, now here's a spot, but it was at the far end of the garage. So I had to run. And I'm juggling all these things. My camera, my Soylent, and my Bubba. And my dog. Hey, could you fill this Bubba with water? I'm going to start having my water, instead of in this, because I'm afraid of spilling, in this nice sealed vehicle.
Okay.
And then, and I'll just keep it here. I wish we had ice here, but...
We do.
Do we? Do we buy ice, or do we have a... Really? I'm going to start using them, I guess.
All right.
And then, yeah, okay. Soylent. It's made of people. 400 calories. It's now, you in theory, I wouldn't recommend it. This is Soylent 2, reformulated. So there's some articles about the first Soylent. In theory, you could live on this. Dr. Mom, do not yell at me. Oh, hi, Roberto. Roberto Hellman. Sorry, I didn't say hi to you because I wasn't here before the show. I was barely here at the beginning of the show. Hi, Roberto. And no, Dr. Mom, so good I can have my Soylent for lunch. It actually tastes good. It tastes like a protein shake. It's vanilla. Tastes fine. Warm, it tastes fine. Cold, it tastes fine.
Is it screw on or just friction fit?
It's friction fit.
I don't know if I...
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And the key is to have the straw so I can do it with my left hand. Pointing at me. That's the only... And the straw, because of the ice, I'm having trouble getting...
Whoa.
My mom sent me this. She said, drink from this all day. I put too much ice in it because I didn't know if we had ice here. That's all right. I can still... It's a little like a sippy cup. It's a gallon sippy cup.
Is that a gin and tonic?
No, but it could be.
It doesn't hold as
This
much
is
as
called...
you think.
No, because it's insulated.
Yeah, it's thick.
It's got two things. No. He's in pain. There's something. He's got a sore somewhere or something. Yeah, you touch... He wants you to love him up. Love him up.
I must have touched it in the wrong.
Hi, Chris. All right, we'll do you.
Hey, do you see the name on line 4?
The name on line 4. Yes, I do. Saba.
Perfect. I knew you would.
I'm good at this stuff. We sat next to, on the way home from New York. Oh, he was so cute. We sat next to a kid who was on his way to Stanford from Tanzania. His name was Jasper. He's coming to Stanford. He was going to be a Stanford freshman. School started yesterday, Friday, I guess. No, he said Saturday. So that's orientation. And he'd never been to the United States. He was from Tanzania. He was like scared and excited. He'd flown for 31 hours to get here. From Tanzania to Dubai to New York to San Francisco. And we sat next to him, and it was so cute because they, on JetBlue, you have to have a credit card to buy lunch. And he said, I don't have a credit card. We bought him lunch. We said, that's fine. And then we got to talking to him, and he's so sweet, Jasper. Hi, Jasper.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, I am so excited for him.
Was that his first time on a plane, too?
No, I don't know. I didn't ask him that. It's first time in the U.S. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. Heather Hummon, the phone ranger. Why am I thinking you went to a Giants game in the last couple of days?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh.
I wish.
I'm thinking you did. I don't know
I
why.
saw something on social media. And
Yeah,
there was
you know how
someone else.
social media is. You can get confused. Well, welcome. It's good to see you.
Great to see you.
You've been answering the phones, I see.
Did Apple ever use It's a Beautiful Day? I'm thinking they did. Is that why Nathan played it?
Well, you too, of course, very famously performed at an Apple event not so long ago, about a year ago. And then they gave away a U2 album.
Right.
Remember Tim Cook touching Bono's finger at the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ooh, and then the album was pushed to everybody's iPhone, and everybody went crazy. I don't want this. What's
People
this? Get this
Still
off.
trying to get that off.
It's
their
free.
phone.
I don't want it. They did. They actually had to make, because you can't delete songs directly on the iPhone, so they had to make a web page so you could take that album off of your. It's free. I don't like you to. I don't want you to, but it's free.
It's not bad.
Songs of Innocence. I didn't listen to it, but
Every once in a while, a song pops
I
up
own
because
it.
I didn't bother to take it off. Yeah, and
Exactly.
you're like, this is good. It
it's all
sounds
right.
like
I love you too.
that sounds like Bono. Oh, it's that record.
Yeah, it's the free one. Who
And not
should
their
I?
best one, but yeah, okay.
Well, they're getting on.
Right. Yeah, it's no war or Bloody Sunday,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you are going to love this question.
Oh, good.
Anthony, building a whole new home, so from the ground up, you get to help him wire that place. Not physically, but
I don't pull cable. I'll do many things. Hi, Anthony. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, El Presidente.
Good afternoon, senor. What can I do for you?
Yeah, like Heather said, building a home.
Nice.
It comes pre-wired in every room with Cat 5e already.
Ah,
So my concern is the wireless stuff. iDevices laid all about the house.
so every room has a little Ethernet jack in the room.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that great? So
Indeed.
the simplest thing to do, it depends how big the house is. I mean, you could just put in one wireless access point, see if it gets edge to edge.
Right. The thing is, it's going to be like a little ranch style with all
Spread
kinds
out.
of little. Yeah, it's a bunch of corners. So.
Well, you may need to get then a few different access points
Right.
and
That's what I was
put
thinking.
and salt the house with them. Now, this is, and actually, I would like some advisement on this from our smart audience, because I've done that. We didn't have Ethernet in every room as you do, you lucky fool, you lucky fellow. But we do have a ranch house like you do. It's all one floor and it's spread out, which means even if I put the Wi-Fi access point in the middle, the edges kind of get iffy bandwidth. So what I got, and it's working, by the way, is something to simulate what you have, which is power line networking. I got a couple of devices you plug into the wall. You put one near the router. It gets an Ethernet into that device, plugs into the wall, and then uses the wiring in the house kind of like Ethernet. It's not quite as fast, but it gets hard line networking into several rooms. And so I went to the gym, which is the farthest part of the house, plugged another one in there, and that one is a Wi-Fi access point. So that way, when we're in the gym, we can use Wi-Fi on our devices as we're on the treadmill and things. So that's worked. Now, what I did and what I was advised to do, and I don't know how network fans feel about this. I asked our Wi-Fi guru, Russell Tammany, and he said to do this. It was okay. I named them all the same with the same password.
Right.
And by doing so, I eliminate this little issue of, well, now I'm joined to the gym Wi-Fi. Okay, now I go to the living room. It's the living room Wi-Fi. You just always join the same one with the same password. Right. And the handoff seems to work.
Okay.
So I
That
think,
was my concern.
yeah, so that's going to be my advice is use the same name and the same password if you have multiple access points. You don't want to use, or you could use the wireless distribution system, or WDS. If you have compatible devices, you can have the main access point, and then the secondary devices can be repeaters, and you just tell them, join this existing network and repeat it. Mm-hmm. But what my experience with that is they'll do that wirelessly, and you don't need that because you have wire. And it would be better, wouldn't it, to just use the wire?
Yeah.
So that's why I think WDS uses Wi-Fi. So these little repeaters are picking up the Wi-Fi signal and repeating it on. That's, I think, not as good since you have Cat 5e and all the... by the way, you're going to wish you had Cat 6.
I know.
5e is a good start.
For the days of the forthcoming 4K revolution. Right?
Exactly. You know what our advice is these days when you're building, it's too late for you probably, is to not just put Cat 5e, but put it in conduit so that you can pull more through and pull different through if you need to.
Yeah.
In 10 years, you might want to be putting fiber in there. Who knows what, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, the builders don't give us the option, but I imagine it shouldn't be too difficult to pull the Cat 6.
And then if you have multiple access points in a house, you're going to probably want to use a Wi-Fi analyzer and pick different channels for each. They might do it well automatically. I found that to vary. But, there's really effectively only 3 channels. We say there's 11. But because it uses the center channel and the 2 side channels, there really is, it's just 1, 6, and 11. So pick 1 for one, pick channel 6 for the other, pick 11 for the third, and you can repeat as they get farther away. That way they won't interfere with one another.
Awesome.
That works for me. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Do you have like a repository anywhere that you recommend?
For information?
Yeah.
Yeah, we recommend a site called practicallynetworked.com.
Okay.
And this sprang up. It was originally a Linksys site, but it sprang up because home users all of a sudden are having to do all the work that a IT guy at a company would do, right? We didn't have to worry about switches and routers because you had one computer, you hooked it up to your modem, and that was that. But now you've got multiple computers, multiple devices, smartphones, TVs, all sorts of stuff. You've got a home network that in some cases rivals the network at work. That network at work is run by a professional. You have to be the professional at home. So Practically Networked is full of tutorials, explanations, plus specific guides on how to do these kinds of things, and I find it very good. The chat room always tells me about another one called smallnetbuilder.com. And we'll put links to both in the show notes. Smallnetbuilder.com and practicallynetworked.com. Both are great sites for learning about this. I like to learn about this stuff. But I'm the tech guy, and you might be the tech guy in your neighborhood, and you might like to learn about it. But I feel for people who don't. And I don't want to know this stuff. I can't do this stuff, or I can't. What? Huh? Because it's complicated, and you're really doing stuff that no human should have to do. But you don't want to have to hire an IT guy, do you? Let's take a break. When we come back, more of your calls. 8888 Ask Leo. I'm helping you with this stuff as best I can. Just consider this little hand-holding as you network your abode. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's a beautiful day.
Are you going to the Niners tomorrow?
Me too.
I was saying, are you?
You should say, no, but I'm seeing the Niners tomorrow as we get to see our brand new team.
God, right?
Uh-huh.
Are tickets going cheaper because people are, the
Lisa
Niners
sold
faithful
her, so Lisa's a season ticket holder. So she sold the preseason, the first game she was able to sell at a premium right away. The other preseason games she couldn't sell. Even at face value, she couldn't sell.
No way.
Yeah, but preseason, real fans don't care about preseason.
I don't understand
You don't see
that.
the first squad, right? You didn't.
I'm just
You weren't
like,
able
a
to
game
sell
is
those,
a
right?
game. Let's go.
Yeah. Are we going Monday or not?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, I can sell those in a heartbeat.
Those you could sell.
No, we're going. I can't miss. I've never missed opening day.
No, we got to go to opening.
Right.
Opening.
20 years.
So-
I've never missed opening day.
She's never missed an opening
I
day in
just
20 years.
Want to make clear that if, God forbid, something happens to Leo,
I know. If I
I'll buy all the champagne you can drink.
do you know my lovely
She does
son?
like. Did you know that she likes champagne? She didn't used to like champagne.
What
and
girl
she
doesn't?
No, she didn't used to like champagne, and then we started drinking Kir Royales, and now she can't stop.
Two things.
We actually have a
One,
bottle of creme de cassis in our refrigerator.
Real quick before you go back on, my son.
I saw that. So John has any plug will work. John,
Okay.
For the Segway, we need just the standard, black plug cord.
The plug-in and charge a Segway, 'cause
It's just that standard
one.
one.
He has 3 bars, and I could have killed him.
That's all right. He just doesn't plug them in. One day,
I told him last night, and he goes, "Oh, there's plenty of charge to go riding tomorrow." And yeah, so Frederic wants to check out your Moto.
It
X,
is
'cause he
awesome.
wants to get one.
highly recommended. I'm still not clear on battery life, but it is great. And because it's unlocked, you can move
The
around.
next time she goes to Belgium, she's like, "Yeah, I don't really have a good camera." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I could have sent."
Oh, we could have lent you a camera. Yeah, we have tons of cameras. Next time. I like that picture of you with Tantan. That was cool.
Yeah, that's the museum.
Is there a Tantan museum? Yeah.
Do you mind if I try to?
No, do everything you want.
She's like, "Do you mind if I put it in my pocket?"
I've been wanting to
As long as
see
you're gonna rub it.
Oh, it's a little bigger, obviously.
It's a little bigger.
Well, don't stick it in straight. You don't, not sideways.
Well,
Oh, you have stuff in there?
pockets are-
They're short? I didn't know that.
Look at that.
See, men's go all the way down. Oh, yeah, you can't.
No, women's don't hold
Oh,
it.
that's highway robbery.
Short pockets
They probably
different.
charge you more for that short pocket.
It depends on what you're wearing.
Ooh, I love it.
Oh, I love it too. This is the ebony wood,
We literally got.
They have
all the way up
bamboo.
to the bottom of Putnam Park.
and it starts to go.
And I go, "How much do you have your charge?" Because we only go all the way up and over.
Right.
It's 3 bars, and we left the house and he had 6. So I said, "No, we're going back."
And watch this. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's up?
Hi Leo, the time is 11:31 a.m. You received a notification from Google Play Services at 10:55 a.m. New Bluetooth device paired. You received a notification
I mean,
from
this is-
Dash at
it's awesome.
11:03
I
a.m.
saw
You can
online
do
that some people are getting Project Fi.
Yeah, Fi works with it, but doesn't do Sprint. But here we don't care. So yeah, I put my Fi SIM in, and it thinks it's T-Mobile, basically. So yeah, you could, if you wanted to go Fi, Fi's cheap. If you don't use a lot of data, Fi's really cheap. So, yeah, go Fi. I put the Fi SIM and worked just fine. I'm now using a T-Mobile SIM, but I put the Fi SIM and worked just fine. It just thinks it doesn't, I don't know if it does the handoff stuff. So the only other question is going to be the Nexus 5. I think this is the one to get.
It's just the camera doesn't have that oscillating.
Doesn't have, it
That's
should
the only
have,
thing.
there's a few things missing. No fingerprint reading, which is nowadays now the thing to do, I think. And no optical image stabilization in the camera. But the camera's quite good. I'll show you. But I'll also show you the issues that come up with it. Because I was taking pictures in the dark. But I think they look good. But you see, he's a little blurry.
Oh, yes, yeah.
See, that's from lack of OIS. That's because the handhelding. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And Jack is on the line from Anaheim, our next call. Hi, Jack.
Good morning, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling.
I'm a professional working with at-risk students in a school district.
Yes.
And when I started my profession back in 2006, 9 years ago, I was told by my district to open a Facebook account. And the reason for that was to be able to have another source to monitor our at-risk students who might have suicidal ideations. Sometimes they'll post things on their Facebook accounts that are red flags for us to check in with them.
Yeah.
When I opened the Facebook account, I used my real first and last name. And then after the account was open for about a year, I began to teach a peer counseling class, one period each day on a high school campus. And I would pick junior and senior students who I taught how to be counselor mediaries for issues on school that didn't involve any violence. And then I started getting friend requests from female students primarily. And that wasn't the purpose for my Facebook account.
Right, of course, yeah.
And so I went to my administrator, and they said, you can change a couple letters in your first and last name, and then you'll become anonymous, and we'll be able to find you. And so what I've done is I've taken my first initial, the first initial of my first name, the first initial of my middle name, and I've combined those. Instead of J, instead of using the letter J, I spell it out Jay.
Okay.
And then I've changed the first letter and the last letter of my last name. And so I'm anonymous now to students and have been for about 7 years. Well, I've gotten a message over the last 2 weeks from Facebook in which they say, is this the real you? And I first clicked on it. It says, I'll deal with this later, answer later. Well, now this past weekend before this, they're now more insistent from Facebook asking me to photograph an ID.
Yeah. So this is Facebook's policy. Facebook's policy, they call it the real names policy, is that you use a policy. I'll give you the quote. A real name is defined by your real name as it would be listed on your credit card, driver's license, or student ID. Now, students are more savvy about it than we adults are. For instance, students typically will use a modified version of their name. That's where your administrator came up with this idea, because they want to have more fun, and then when they get out in the real world, use their real name. But Facebook may crack down on you, as they have, and I don't know of any recourse. This has been a big issue in some communities, transgender communities and others, where people quite reasonably want to protect their privacy, but they want to participate in Facebook. And at this point, I don't know of any way around this. Oddly, the kids managed to get around it, and you were able to get around it, but it's only until you get caught.
How long ago did this policy come into?
It's always been the policy of Facebook. Now, Facebook in 2012 said that there are more than 83 million fake accounts. So they're obviously, there are 1.5 billion users on Facebook, and I doubt there are enough employees for them to police this. So probably what happened, I hate to say it, is one of your students reported you. Somebody.
I don't have them as a friend.
They don't have to be your friend. Somebody complained that you're not using your real name. Because it's highly unlikely that there are enough employees for Facebook. It's one thing if you use the name, Jay Bugaboo, because that doesn't look like a real name. But you made your name look like a real name, just as a slight spelling change.
Right, but do the students alert Facebook that Zachary Hahn doesn't have an account? Because none of the students know what I've changed my account to.
Well, somebody figured it out and reported you. That would be my guess.
Okay.
It's highly unlikely. I mean, you look like a real name. So how would Facebook know, right? I mean, it's possible they're matching photos or doing something else. But, Google Plus did this too and changed their minds, and I think rightly so. There are good reasons to force the people to use real names.
I can see the value.
You get better discourse because people have to stand behind what they say. But there are also extremely good reasons not to use your real name, and you are a perfect example.
Because of my job, and I don't use the site at all for posting. I don't use it with my family. It's specifically to save at-risk students from
I
self-harm.
completely understand. I guess you could write a letter to Mark Zuckerberg and ask him.
That's what my thought is, and I'm glad you said that because I think that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, because I think you have a compelling case. Our show is heard in Silicon Valley, so maybe Mark's listening. Hi, Mark. Congratulations.
Hi, Mark.
Mark's got a baby on the way.
My lockdown on Facebook.
Yeah. But, and the problem when you have a company that has 1.5 billion monthly active users, it's mind-boggling. It's very hard to make a policy and then have exceptions. You kind of – and remember, using Facebook is not a right. I hate to describe it as a privilege, but it isn't. You don't have a right to use Facebook. You have a very reasonable reason to use Facebook.
And as a tool, I'd have to probably let it go because I have no personal investment in Facebook at all. It doesn't.
Now, how are you able to monitor these students? You'd have to become their friends, wouldn't you?
Well, we have an IT guy on campus, and somehow I'm able to. I can just put their name in, even though I'm not friending, and I can look at if they're not. I guess it's how they set up their account. Because, you can set up your account that says only friends can see this, only friends of friends can see this.
If they're posting publicly, anybody can see it, even, by the way, even without a Facebook account.
That's how we use it.
So you could Google their name and look at it without a Facebook account. You don't need to log into Facebook.
Okay.
I believe that's the case.
That's an option. I can Google a name, and I can also
if they've posted it publicly, if they posted but I should tell you that people have gone to court over this, but not won, because Facebook has the right to assert this, and for good reason. I mean, I think what they're saying is, look, we understand the need for domestic victims of domestic violence, for people who are being bullied, for students. We understand the need for pseudonyms, but it's our decision and our business not to allow them for other good reasons. And if you want to act on the internet pseudonymously, there are ways to do that. Google Plus is one. Twitter, for sure. In fact, compare the level of discourse on Twitter versus the level of discourse on Facebook, and you'll see why Facebook does it.
Thank you so much, Leo, for your input and your expertise.
Thank you for working with kids.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.
Have a great Sunday.
Facebook does have a very good system for reporting suicidal, or otherwise disturbing status messages and timeline posts. Because they're very aware of this, and they do have an excellent way of doing it. So I think their attitude is, well, we expect peers, the actual friends of this person, to respond. But of course, as you know, kids don't necessarily know what the warning signs are, and may not be. Probably your best bet is to educate every kid in your school as to what the warning signs are for suicidal ideation and other problematic postings, so that they can report it to Facebook, because Facebook does have a mechanism for that, and to my understanding, they're very effective with that. They're very aware of this whole issue, but they've also decided to, enforce this real names policy. There are plenty of people get away with that until they get caught. 8888 Ask Leo. Great question. Thank you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by my my caterer, Blue Apron. I love Blue Apron. We've been eating such great meals lately with the Blue Apron. So here's the deal. I like to cook, but some people don't, or maybe intimidated a little bit by cooking. And after a long day, probably the last thing you want to do is go shop and try something new. That's my big problem. I always make the same 4 things over and over because it's easy. I know, and I keep it in stock. Blue Apron is such a great alternative for you. Blue Apron will actually send you not cooked meals, and I love this. They'll send you fresh ingredients and recipes for a great home-cooked meal. So you do the cooking, usually a half hour, 45 minutes. You'll cook stuff you've never made before. How about, blackened chicken? I'm just looking at the menus. Blackened chicken under a brick. I've had that in restaurants. I don't even know how to make it at home. With zucchini, corn sauté, and tomato rice. All the ingredients, everything. The garlic, the scallions, ingredients you've never used before, quinoa, interesting grains, and everything you need to make that recipe just the right amount so you don't waste stuff. And by the way, meats and fish fresh because it comes in a refrigerated box. Such a good idea. It's less than $10 a meal. The meals are well-balanced, nutritious, 500 to 700 calories a serving. You have 2 choices. You can get dinner for 2. That's what Lisa and I do often. But there's also a family plan where you can get kid-friendly ingredients and make it for the whole family. In fact, get the kids involved. No trips to the grocery store, no waste from unused ingredients. I don't do it every night. I just love it, though, when that Blue Apron box comes and I have the choice. Oh, let's do Blue Apron tonight. We actually say that in the house. Let's do Blue Apron tonight. It's really fun. For date night, I love doing that. Lisa and I will cook together. We do the chopping, the sautéing. It's so much fun. You'll cook incredible meals. If you're trying to snag a significant other, if you got date night, very impressive. You put the candles out and you got the Blue Apron in the dish and it looks beautiful. Oh, man. I want you to try it. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Check out this week's menu at blueapron.com/twit. You'll also get your first 2 meals free, so you don't have to guess. 2 meals free. Just go to blueapron.com/twit. We thank Blue Apron so much for their support. Lentil and mushroom veggie burgers with arugula salad and aioli. Mary Jo Foley's a vegetarian, so they have vegetarian options as well. We got her some delicious Blue Apron. My mouth is watering. I'm hungry now. Instead, I'm going to have Soylent for lunch. Oh, What have I done? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. Back to the phones we go. Lori is in Huntington Beach, California. Hi, Lori.
Hi, Leo.
Hey,
I'm so
Lori.
excited to talk to you.
Oh, golly, thank you.
You're my savior for all things computer.
Oh, that's my job.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I turned on my laptop, and I found a new user account on there that I didn't put there or open up.
That's not good.
Yes, and it was password protected as well.
And what was the name of the new user account?
Asp.net. ASP.net.
Okay. That ASP.net is the website technology that Microsoft sells. A lot of websites are based on ASP.net. Now, let me ask a question in the chat room, because I've never seen an account created for ASP.net, but maybe that's not abnormal. If I were a bad guy putting an account, do you have a malicious boyfriend lying around?
No.
No,
not
good.
at all.
All right.
However, I was trying to help my 8-year-old download mods for Minecraft.
Ah.
And so I want to know if it's related to that, or I had just done a big update from
Now, let me
Microsoft.
warn you about 8-year-olds and Minecraft mods. Because I have a 12-year-old. Same problem. In fact, eventually what we did is we gave him a limited user account so that he couldn't install anything. And I would recommend this for the 8-year-old. He'll be able to play his games. He'll be able to play mods that you, Mom, install. The problem is, especially as they get older, they start seeing YouTube videos. That's where they get all this. They see a YouTube video for a mod. Oh, I really want that. And they go out and they download it from a site that may not be the best site in the world, maybe a little sketch, and they may get some other stuff installed there. So I understand your concern. So make sure he's not running as an administrator. I'm sure he's not, although oddly enough, Windows does, by default, make all new accounts administrator accounts.
Well, on your advice, I had set up a user account. Just a standard user. Because of you. And I noticed just in the last few days that it didn't pop up where you have, this is Windows 7, and where you have to put in the password, the admin password, in order to do anything on that account. And it wasn't doing that.
So I'm looking at, and thanks to the chat room for finding this, this is on forums.asp.net, which is an official Microsoft site. I'm looking at an exact post saying exactly this. And when you install the Microsoft.NET framework, which you probably had to.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, to install some mod or thing, that shows up. It should be at a guest account level. So one thing you can do is log into your administrator account and look at the manage users and look at that account. If you can see it, you're not supposed to see it, but sometimes these things happen. And so if you look at it and you see its guest level account, you're fine. I guess this has to be done for reasons I don't know. How did you find out that was there?
Well, when I did the updates, and there was a lot of them, and then it restarted the computer. I may have shut it down completely, but then the next time I opened it up, I saw a couple of user accounts, the ones that we had created that are always there.
On the login screen?
Yes.
Yeah. You're not supposed to. So that something went wrong. You don't need to download the account, but what the Thread suggests is that you go again to Microsoft Update and re-download the .NET Framework Service Pack. And when you run it, it'll say, oh, wait, you already have this installed. Reinstall it. And what happened is, in installation, it did something by accident. It happens all the time. And it made itself
you think
visible.
that was an update?
Yeah, it's
problem?
run it again. Run the installer again, and when the installer does its full job and completes it and cleans up afterwards, it hides that. It just didn't get to complete, I think, and that can happen for so many reasons. Nothing that you did. Now, you're right to be concerned. You don't want to see new accounts popping up on your machine. If somebody has physical access to your machine besides you and your son, and that person's untrustworthy, that's another matter. Once somebody has nobody has physical access.
Yeah.
No.
No.
So I would say this is not a problem. You can ignore that account, and the way to fix it is to go to Windows Update, and you can do. You have to kind of do some finagling because this is not. You've already installed it, so it won't show up as a new update.
Right.
But if you go, I can't remember which version of Windows are you using.
7.
7. Yeah, I think in Windows 7, if you look in the left-hand column at Windows Update, there's a section for network updates. And what those are for is sysadmins, IT guys, to download the update, put it on a USB key, and carry it around from machine to machine. That means you can re-download an existing update. You're going to search for that .NET update, get the most recent one, download it, rerun it, let it go through. It'll say, but you already have this. You say, I know, but you didn't finish. You didn't finish the job. Please finish the job. And that should get rid of it. It doesn't actually get rid of it. It just shouldn't be visible.
Uh-huh. I see.
So I don't think there's cause for concern.
Okay.
All bets are off if somebody has physical access to your machine, or your 8-year-old is doing what many kids do because they trust the world, and is just going, yeah, I see. I want this mod I just saw on YouTube. Let me go download it. But because you are so smart, is a limited user, he can't do that. He has to say, Mom.
Yeah.
What, dear?
Well, I don't let him on because I have it on password protection, so I know when he's on there and doing stuff. And I know it was something I did. If something went wrong, it's probably something I did.
Well, it wasn't wrong. Probably wasn't wrong. So you're very careful when he says, I want this mod, to look at the source.
Yes.
Try to get it from the original creator of the mod or from a safe site. Some sites, Softpedia, CNETsDownload.com, will try to install not malware, but toolbars into your browser and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you want to, as you're installing, always look at the dialog boxes and say no to any additional add-ons. You just want that one mod. Mm-hmm. I have cleaned up Michael, our 12-year-old's install many times because after the first time he was no longer running as administrator. He's running as a limited user. So we get that, Mom, can you install this? And then just be careful. Use your adult brains not to trust everybody, and be careful because running another program is always a potential issue.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little scary for us old school folks.
Yeah, but you're all right. It's just Windows. I mean, he can run Minecraft now on Mac. You might next computer get a Mac. You won't have to worry about this. Okay.
Good idea.
Thanks for the call.
Okay, thank you, Leo.
I appreciate it. It's great. You know what? Minecraft is Lego. In my generation, my kids' generation, they played with Lego. Nowadays, they play with Minecraft. And they're building stuff digitally and online. I wish they'd play with Lego because there's spatial and physical things you learn that you don't learn on a digital device. But, hey, they're learning. They're building stuff. Website is techguylabs.com. I will put, for Lori, on techguylabs.com a kind of more advanced technique that a lot of us Windows 7 users have used in the past. It's a hidden control panel for managing users that allows you to modify some of these things and even hide this app.net account manually. But I think the best idea is to just do a reinstall of the update. That should take care of it. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers and the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Website, I should mention, techguylabs.com. That is a great resource for you. It is free. We don't make you sign up for anything or pay for anything. You just go right in there. Door is always open, and that's where all the show notes are, everything I talk about, links to articles, tip of the week, product of the week, which I think this week will be the Moto X. My thoughts on that. I have a little kind of basic review up on there. techguylabs.com. And, of course, after the fact, audio and video from every show. So if you hear me say something and say, wait, what? You said that too fast? Don't worry. It's not too fast for James DeRuvo. He's writing it all down, and it'll all be there. Back to the phones we go, and Gary's next from Laguna Niguel. Hi, Gary. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Well, hello, Will. Zuckerberg, Burt here.
Hey, Dr. Burt.
Let's see. Okay, well, I figured it was finally time for me to upgrade and get a good phone. I looked at all the different ones. I looked at the Note 5, the S6, and everything.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that really drew me into the Note 4, removable memory card, and you can carry a spare battery.
Yep.
Because when I'm out there, photographing the birds, sometimes I check in the B&Bs that don't even have a power outlet.
Yeah.
And how can I possibly recharge my phone?
Fast charging is not going to help you unless you bring you could bring, and I do bring a battery with me these days, a fast charging battery. But yeah, I have every time I've had every Galaxy Note from the very first one, and every time I get a new Note, I buy an extra battery or two. Samsung sells a charger plus 2 batteries for $80, something like that, and that's very handy. You just pop out the battery and you put in a new one. And I agree with you, SD card storage is great because even though Android kind of has iffy support for SD card storage, it's nice to be able to put pictures and music. I have a lot of audiobooks on my phone, and you just store them there, and that doesn't use up main memory. So you're right, that's a very nice feature of the Note 4.
Yeah, and Leo, nowadays for me, it's not just doing bird photos. I do a lot of butterflies and reptiles.
Neat. What kind of camera do you use?
Well, of course, matter of fact, that's another thing I was going to ask you about. My favorite camera now is 7D Mark II.
Yes, of course.
Oh, my God, I actually like it better than my 1DX.
Yeah.
That camera, 10 frames a second, 65 out of... Now, you're using the 7D Mark II as well, too, aren't you?
I have a 5D Mark II. Now, these are Canon cameras.
Yes.
It's interesting because most of the bird photographers I know are looking for very fast focus, and they seem to like Nikons better. But you're saying the new Canon is pretty good.
Let's put it this way, Leo. If I'm using my 405.6 lens, which is what I use for...
400? Holy cow!
Yeah. Now, remember, I'm talking about doing birds in flight.
Yeah.
My 7D Mark II focuses faster and tracks the bird better than the 1DX.
See that? So it's funny because depending on the kind of photography you do, different cameras might be better for you. Nowadays, I would say in most cases, all the cameras are very good quality. We've figured it out. So now it's down to which is faster focus or which, there's a variety of different which has the better lens. But I think Canon is very good. Nikon's very good. I'd watch out for Sony. I think they're catching up. Maybe not.
Sony is now making a mirrorless body that uses Canon lenses. Did you know that?
I have an adapter on my A7S or A7R that allows me to use all my 5D lenses. So that is nice, the Metabones adapter. And the focus is now getting close to native speed. But let's get back to the phone. So which phone did you go with? The Note 4?
I got the Note 4.
Okay.
And I love it except one thing.
Yeah.
Now, you might be able to help me with this. I hope you can. When you are using the Note 4 or any of the more modern Samsung phones, you go into the contact page. I'm going into it right now here on my phone as we speak.
Yeah.
I'm going into it. And look at my contacts. I see all the different people I have on my contact list.
Yeah.
Well, the color of the background is...
I don't know what.
White.
Does that annoy you?
Right. Go in the bright sunlight and try to look at your phone. You know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, it's white on Lollipop too. It's not just Samsung. The generic Android is white. So
how do you change that to black, dark blue, dark green, dark red, or whatever you want to do?
That is an interesting question. Samsung, I think, has a dark theme. I can't remember it. You have theming capabilities on the Note 5. I believe the Note 4 also had theming capabilities, doesn't it? Look in the settings.
Well, here's what I did, Leo. I called, and I had the Samsung rep on me with the phone.
Yeah.
I was talking to the guy for nearly an hour, and we tried everything.
Well, that doesn't mean he knows what he's doing.
Background. To change just the background.
Okay, I'll give you 2 ways to do it. One is you're probably not desirable. In the accessibilities listing, you can change, under the settings, you can change contrast, and I believe there's a monochrome mode that should give you a white text on black.
Okay, we already tried that.
Doesn't give you what you want.
No, it did. Well, what it did, it changed the entire screen on everything, meaning I couldn't even look at my desktop.
Right.
See, on my desktop, I have one of my best bird photos on
So you only want to change your contacts.
Just in the contacts.
All right. The other choice would be to go into the settings and look at themes. And Samsung has a variety of free themes. They have paid themes. There are a huge number of themes, one of which might give you a darker background in general. The final method is to not use the Samsung dialer, but to use a third-party dialer that may have a dark background. There's a number of third-party, like TrueDial. I think Facebook has a dialer as well that can be used for the phone. Maybe they'll have a dark background. I don't know off the top of my head of any that do. I don't mind a white background, but I could see how if you're in the outside and it's hard to see. But if you don't want to change the whole phone, which is what the accessibility change does, then I'm not sure. I think you're going to have to find, and the themes change the whole phone, but they might change it in a way that's more tolerable to you. Then you're going to have to find a third-party app. Anybody got a suggestion for a better contact management app that has a black background? A lot of apps, third-party apps, do have the choice between a light and dark background. Twitter, many of the Twitter apps, not Twitter itself, but many of the third-party Twitter apps. We'll find one for you. Keep listening. Coming up in a bit, by the way, our photo guy, half past the hour, Chris Marquardt, will be here. Talk about digital photography. He's back from Ireland. How exciting. Saba in Murrieta, California. Hi, Saba. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you, Saba?
I'm great. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you.
So I have a website called Mr. Sinky, and I'm trying to
Mr.
upload...
what? Mr. Stinky?
Mr. Sinky, S-I-N-K-Y.
Mr. Sinky. Okay. What does Mr. Sinky do?
It's a toothbrush holder.
I like it.
Check it out. Google it. It's amazing.
MRSINKY.com?
Yes.
I like it. So he sits on the sink. Oh, this looks cool. And you sanitize the brush while it's sitting in there.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
I just made that up. It looks like one of those barbershop comb holders.
No.
But it's better looking.
It protects your toothbrush from fecal matter.
Oh, my gosh. You've been watching the Mythbusters.
Yes.
$20 for Mr. Sinky. Well, yes. I better get one quick. So, wow. Or have the commode in a different room. So what can I do to assist Mr. Sinky?
So I'm trying to upload some new videos and pictures onto my website.
Yeah.
But my computer stopped working. Is there a way that I can take my pictures and videos from one computer?
Yes.
That doesn't turn on?
But we've run out of time. So hang on. I'll get to your question in just a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Mr. Stinky. Sinky. That is so cute. So you have, Saba, right now, you're using YouTube videos. So that's one way to do it, is upload that stuff to YouTube.
Okay.
And then just link to it, as you're doing right now on your website. So you have a PC or a Mac?
I have a PC.
And all the videos that you want are currently on the PC?
Yeah.
And do you want to get those videos to a new...
Videos and software.
Software. So video's no problem, you understand. You just back it up and copy them over. Software you can't do that with, because software, as you know, when you install it, goes through a lot of stuff. And it spreads bits of itself like fecal matter all over your computer. So, I mean, literally gets into your registry, gets into various directories. There might be libraries. It loads in various places. So you can't just say, let me copy the application folder onto a disk, bring it over to the new computer. You can put it in and try to run it. It'll say, oh, I'm missing this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
The best way, the only really effective way to move applications from one computer to another is with the original installer. I take it you don't have that.
Correct.
Yeah. There are third-party programs that you can buy that claim to allow movement of applications. They kind of reverse installers. You run them, and they go through the installer manifest, and they look for file bits and pieces here and there, and you can move them over. My experience has been they're not great.
Okay.
And in fact, I don't know what the current state of the art is in uninstallers and application movers. Maybe the chat room could help me with that. You want an application mover is kind of the name. Why don't you have the original discs?
Well, I was editing on my computer, and then it just stopped. Everything just stopped working.
Yeah. So the computer. I understand the computer died, but you don't have the installers for the programs that you use?
No, I don't have the installers.
Are they commercial programs or downloaded programs?
They're downloaded programs.
Okay. Well,
But they were expensive.
yeah. But the truth, now I hope you saved the serial numbers somewhere.
Oh, no.
What? Do you have your email somewhere?
Yeah.
So you almost certainly have emails from when I buy programs online, they send me an email saying, thank you for your purchase. Here's where you can download the program, and here's your serial number. You needed that to download and run the program, then you put the serial number in, and now it's licensed. And all of that works great.
Okay.
But you can do it again, but so what you'll probably want to do is look at your email. Give me an example. What's a program you really need?
Photoshop.
So did you subscribe to the Creative Cloud, or did you just buy it outright?
I think we subscribed. I'm not sure I've had it.
And all you need is your Adobe login. Actually, all you need is your Adobe login anyway. And you can log in, get the serial number, re-download Photoshop, and you're good to go.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Check out our website, Mr. Stinky.
Mr. Stinky. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. I talked a little more with Saba off the air. It turns out that what she really wants her computer crashed, is to install the program she uses on the crashed computer, on the new computer. And this is actually should be fairly straightforward nowadays, because nowadays, in the old days, you'd get a CD or floppy disks. You'd put them in the closet, and you need a new computer. You'd get them out of the closet, you install it on the new computer. Sometimes you have to deactivate the old version. If you can't do that because the computer crashed, you'd call. You'd say, hey, my computer crashed. Can you reset my activations? And they'd let you do that. Nowadays, it's even easier because almost all software is distributed over the internet. It's downloads. So what you mostly want to do is make sure you preserve the serial number of the download. If you keep your email, if you don't delete email routinely, it'll be in there. I use Evernote. Great free program. It's a notebook program. Evernote.com. Works on every platform, mobile, desktop, everywhere. And I just put the serial numbers in there. Or the email I got from the company saying, hey, thanks for buying our software. Here's the information you need. That way you've always got it. You could search for the name of the product. And because Evernote backs up to the cloud, even if your computer dies, you've got a copy. One of the programs she wanted to recover was Adobe Photoshop. It depends how old it is. If it's not too old of a version, if it's a really old version, then let's hope you save the serial number, because Adobe in the old days would just let you install it and put in a serial number and it would work. More recently, Adobe's added activation counters that say you can only activate it twice. So that means a call to Adobe. And in the most recent stuff, and this actually solves all of it, is the Creative Cloud. Adobe wants you to subscribe to their software. Microsoft does this too with Office. If that's the case, if you're a Creative Cloud subscriber, for instance, for photographers, one of the best deals out there, $10 a month for Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Lightroom. Those are the two programs that most photographers rely on. $10 a month. You create an Adobe account, you subscribe, then you're golden. You can put it on two different computers. You can move it from computer to computer, and you do it all on your Adobe account. Your computer crashes, you deactivate that version, you download a version on the new computer, you reactivate it, and you're golden. You're good to go. So in most cases, you don't have to move software. If you have the serial number, you probably can just reinstall it. 8888 Ask Leo. It's really interesting how more and more people are doing subscription for software. And I think a lot of us don't like it because they end up having all these extra, like $10 a month charges all over the place. Are you getting used to that? Or would you rather just buy software outright, own it, not worry if it goes out of date because you're happy with it? What's your preference? Companies love that. Yeah, $10 a month every month for the rest of your life. Randy in Seattle, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Randy.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. As I ramp it off to Heather, I don't know whether I have a question, a complaint, or what.
Okay.
I'll be brief and succinct as possible. Here's my situation. My preferred wireless provider for my iPhone is a MVNO. It's not one of the major 4 carriers.
Right.
So the past few years, I've been purchasing an iPhone full price right up front, when they come out.
You're getting what they call the carrier unlocked version.
Correct.
And that allows you to put a SIM chip in from any compatible carrier. I use the word compatible because that's somewhat important. You have to have a carrier that uses GSM, and you have to have a carrier that uses radio frequencies that the iPhone supports. Now, the good news is Apple, among all the smartphone manufacturers, supports the broadest range of antennas. They want to make one iPhone that works everywhere, and for the most part, that's the case. Is your MVNO a CDMA carrier? Are they based on Sprint, or are they GSM?
No, they're GSM. They're Straight Talk based.
Oh yeah, Straight Talk. Okay, Straight Talk does both, by the way, depending on which Straight Talk you buy. Sometimes they use Sprint, but as long as it's using GSM, it's reselling probably AT&T.
Right.
You should be able to buy an unlocked iPhone. Now, what you're probably noticing is something that happened last time too. On the initial sales, Apple doesn't sell the unlocked carrier unlocked version. They sell it only for the big 4: AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile. Buy the T-Mobile one.
Okay. So can I explain? Here's the situation. So as part of last Wednesday's announcement, they also announced the new upgrade program,
right,
where now someone can go into the Apple store.
Yeah, that's unlocked. Yeah.
That's unlocked. That's unlocked. However, in order to walk out of the store with an unlocked GSM phone, one must first activate the phone from one of the 4 major carriers.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They did this last year. They did this last year too. I had to buy a T-Mobile phone because I wanted it immediately. I didn't want to wait. And then a few months later, they started offering a completely, unattached phone. In my memory is that T-Mobile version is unlocked. So I've ordered it on the store online. I'll get it on the 25th. I don't have to activate it with T-Mobile. I'll open it up, take the T-Mobile SIM out, and put in a different SIM.
Right. But with the upgrade program, I only have to pay $32 or $37 a month.
So they make you, with the upgrade program, they make you activate it?
Yes. I conferred with 3 different Apple reps, one over the phone, one chatting online at the Apple store and online chat, and one in a local store in the area. 2 out of 3 of them told me that once I walk out the store with this unlocked phone, which now has been activated with one of the 4 major carriers, I can technically remove that SIM chip, cancel the account with that carrier, and put back in my Straight Talk.
Well, that's for sure true. I'm surprised that they say you have to activate. That's very weird.
That's my question. Why go through? Why can't they do away with this intermediary?
Yeah, they should. In fact, this whole Apple plan, the idea you pay $32 a month or what, varies on the phone, but you pay a monthly fee, is to get them off of this dependence on carriers. It says specifically unlocked. Well, we don't know yet because you can't go in a store and buy one yet. It may be that the information you've heard is incorrect. I've had that experience. In fact, last year when I went to buy the iPhone 6, I was told several times that, oh, no, you have to buy it with a carrier. I bought the T-Mobile one, didn't activate it, just took it in a box, and then I put the SIM in for my carrier. Actually, I wanted to stay with T-Mobile, but it wasn't locked, wasn't carrier locked, and they did not require an activation. So who told you that you have to activate?
Well, the person over the phone.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Website. If you go to the upgrade program information right on the Apple website, it specifically says you must activate this unlocked GSM phone with one of the 4 major carriers first.
Well, that's dopey. Obviously, Apple is in some way. I mean, if that's the case, then it sounds like maybe the carriers are. In the past, Apple's had so much clout that they could do whatever they want. Maybe the carriers are saying, no, you have to. I don't know. It makes no sense. You're right. And if that's their advice, I guess you could do it. But who wants to create an account, then cancel it?
Exactly.
What a waste of time and energy. You know, let me investigate more, because that doesn't sound right. I'll go look at the website. I bought the T-Mobile outright, and I know I could put any SIM in it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Maybe because you're... I don't know. Maybe it's because you're not getting the subsidy from these companies. I don't know. Maybe Apple's getting a little something from them. I don't know. Let me look. Let's look at the website. Curtis B. gave me the direct link. Thank you, Curtis B. From $32.41 a month. Note 1 at the bottom. The iPhone upgrade program is available to qualified customers with a U.S. personal credit card. Requires a 24-month installment loan with 0% APR from Citizens Bank. Purchase of Apple Care Plus and iPhone activation with a national carrier. Well, that's dopey. That's just dopey. The finance phone requires activation on a new or existing wireless service plan with an eligible carrier under the carrier's terms and may be subjected to an additional fee. Well, don't do it. Just don't do it. That's dopey. I don't know why they do that. It must be that some carriers are saying, well, we don't want them to take it and put it on Straight Talk. I don't know. That's just darn dopey. Yeah, I bought the phone outright. You do have to buy a phone attached to a carrier. It may be locked, in which case I'll call T-Mobile and say, unlock this, and they will. It's very strange. Chris Marquardt, welcome back from Ireland.
Hello.
How are you, my friend?
I am doing very well. I have something to talk about, and there's some material for you to put on the screen while we do it. It's at tfttf.com/long exposures.
I got Metabones 4 adapter for the Sony A7.
Is it good?
All my Canon lenses now work as if native. The focus is just as fast. Or maybe it's a little slower, but it's fast enough. So
Amazing.
I feel good. I can now use a giant lens.
so now all the advantage you have with a smaller camera is completely gone.
I have a tiny body with a giant lens. But they don't make, for instance, a good telephoto lens yet. So
True,
if I need telephoto, I can do it. Yeah. I feel very well equipped, though. I got the new A7R2 and 42 megapixel. I just love it. And then, of course, they come out with the A7S2.
Of course.
Damn you, Sony!
Well, it's going to be like with the iPhone. You have to buy a new one every year.
I think that's what they want you to do.
You need to get a new camera every year. There's going to be something really compelling.
I like really like the A7, but even the new A7 is still only 12 megapixels. So I get good enough low light performance on the A7R2. I'm just going to stay.
So now new iPhone 12 megapixels, Sony 12 megapixels.
I'm excited about the new iPhone.
That's going to make people. That's going to confuse quite a lot of people.
I think 12's plenty, right?
And for most of the things, absolutely.
The sensor in the iPhone is teensy weensy though, so you really don't want to go bigger than 12 because you just.
I mean, I guess they wouldn't have gone 12 if they hadn't figured out like it would be as good as the 8 megapixels from before. So I'm not too worried about that.
No, I can't wait. And I got the DxO1, so who cares? I have a problem, Chris.
No, it's not a problem. I've just spent a weekend on a workshop. You're not alone. Let's put it this way.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. There he is. By the way, before I introduce Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, we're going to talk digital photography. Just an update. I did go out and go to the Apple site, thanks to the chat room who gave me a link directly to the agreement. And yes, if you do this Apple subsidized plan, you do have to activate with one of the 4 national carriers, which is just weird. Obviously, Apple's getting a kickback from them. That's all I can think. And they want that money. So eventually, well, I don't know eventually. I don't know. This is a new program from Apple. Just buy the unlocked one, I guess, and bite the bullets. Subsidize it yourself. Chris Marquardt is here. He's from the fabulous DiscoverTheTopFloor.com. He's a digital photography guru, a teacher, and a great photographer himself. Just back from Ireland. Welcome back.
Welcome back. By the way, I buy them unlocked too, just up front.
But you're in Germany, and you get to, right?
I do, yes.
But I think you
got
pay
for a long
more
time.
for your iPhones than we do, because
but the prices you see on the German websites, they all include the VAT.
The
tax is included in there, so that makes them a bit more expensive.
So did you order a new iPhone?
I did.
See, I think as a photographer,
I need those 12 megapixels. You know how important megapixels are.
Yeah, I think as a photographer, you want an iPhone. Admittedly, all the other phone manufacturers are coming up with pretty good cameras. The LG G4 is excellent. So is the Galaxy Note 4 and the S6 cameras. But iPhone, there's something magical about an Apple iPhone. They sprinkle it with fairy dust or something.
Every phone now is good. I mean,
they're all pretty good. You're hard pressed, yeah.
And the megapixels thing was a joke, okay? The megapixels are not the most important thing.
Let's make that clear.
I found out something while in Ireland. I spent 2 weeks in Ireland with a group of photographers in beautiful Donegal in the northwest of Ireland. It's just the most amazing part of Ireland.
Was it raining?
Every part of Ireland is good, but Donegal is beautiful. Plus, it doesn't have that many tourists, so we didn't have to navigate around other people with photography. It was rainy, it was windy, it was sunshine, and all that several times a day in the course of like 30 minutes. I mean, pretty much like 3 seasons within 30 minutes, and then rinse, repeat. So,
but that means it's very green.
It's beautiful. The light is just the most amazing thing, and everything is in motion. Landscape photography up there is really about timing. I mean, you wouldn't expect that. Like, you set up your camera with landscape. Landscape doesn't run away. Landscape doesn't mind you shooting it. So, but there it really is about timing, because the clouds are in motion, and up there it's an island, so there is a lot of sea around it, and at the sea. And one of the things you can do there really well, and it's a bit more involved, but it's a lot of fun once you get it down, is long exposures. So slow shutter speeds. We're talking about like anywhere between a quarter of a second and several minutes of exposure, which will create some of the most fascinating results. And that's what I want to talk about
now,
today.
Of course, it means you're not going to take pictures of people, because you're not going to get them to stand still for 30 seconds.
Well, let's just have a look at that.
Really?
I sent you a link with some photos, and some of those are just regular photos, and some of those have been taken at longer exposures during the daytime. Now, this one, the second one,
I can tell. I'm looking at the ocean against the cliff, and the ocean is so creamy and soft. I could tell it's a time delay. Right?
So it kind of adds something magic if you go longer shutter speeds. Now, of course, you will need a few things to help you during the daytime, because your camera will not be able to expose lights. This one is a 20-second exposure, for example.
Tripod.
So you need a tripod, obviously. You need some sort of a remote release or a self-timer on your camera that lets you...
Why do you need that?
Because you don't want to press the shutter button, because that would move the camera.
Makes it
so you
jiggle.
want to
no jiggly.
It jiggles it. So you'd need something to release the camera without actually touching it.
You can always do the time release, where you say take a picture in 3 seconds. Right?
And that's what I do for some of these shots. There's most of the cameras let you set up like the 10-second timer, where you might use for a group shot that you want to be in. So you press the shutter and then run over to the group, and but there's also a 2-second mode on many cameras, and you set that up, and then you just use that for these kind of long exposures. And there's a third thing that is really helpful here. It's kind of crucial here. It's the so-called neutral density filter, an ND filter, which is pretty much sunglasses for your camera. It takes out the light, makes everything darker, so you have to expose longer, but it tries to preserve the colors. So
this is important, because in daylight anyway, you take a picture for 20 seconds, you're going to let in so much light that you probably can't stop the camera down enough to make it work?
No, you can get to something like a quarter of a second sometimes, but that would mean to shoot with very small apertures, and that will create some other optical issues. So to get like very long exposures, to smooth out water surfaces, waves, and like in little streams or in rivers, that can be really beautiful. Or the frothy sea, you can turn that into a mist almost.
It's so
into
beautiful.
a very smooth mist.
I love these.
To even out that motion, you will need several seconds. This is a good example. If you look at the sea back there between the pebbles or the boulders, that looks like it's mist, but it's actually the sea that has moved for like 20 seconds.
This is one of the things I really think is important to emphasize if you're a photographer is experiment.
That is a lot of experimentation to get that right.
You might want to take it at a very high shutter speed to freeze the water, see what that looks like, and then take it at 10, 20, 30 seconds to let the water kind of move around and see what that looks like. That's all about, and that's, I think the best photographers like you love to experiment with this stuff.
Oh, a lot of experimentation. And going back to having people in the shots, that second shot that you looked at, there is actually a person in there. And the reason for that was initially just to give it some sort of a size reference.
Yeah.
You know, you want to see that this is actually huge cliffs there. So there's this tiny person sitting there.
Did you shout down to him, "Don't move"?
It did. It was, first of all, it wasn't that dangerous to get out there. It looks much more dangerous than it was.
It does.
And he was one of us, one of the group. He's a photographer.
So you
and
told
he
him.
went out there to take a selfie. Like he set up his camera and had a remote release, like a wireless remote release. And when he was out there, I shouted over to him, "Don't move for 20 seconds.
You did.
And that's what he did. And I took a 20-second exposure. He
cracked
just
me
sat
up.
there for 20 seconds. And this is how you get a person in there.
Oh, what a great picture. These pictures are available on Chris's website. But, you know, I'm looking at them on Flickr, and that's giving us a nice big... You put them on Facebook, too, but you're on Flickr. NUBUI is his Flickr handle. So Flickr.com.
I'm everywhere with those pictures because I'm so happy about them.
They're
I put them up
just
everywhere.
gorgeous. These images are so... The color is so beautiful. I love the slow shots. There's a cute dog on an Irish wall. It's great to get a living thing in these images, isn't it?
This is a shot that actually just happened. I mean, the dog was just standing on a wall. It's a dog framed in a window frame behind it.
It's perfect.
And the dog was just walking up there and it stood there for me, posed. That's when you have to be ready because this is a situation that doesn't happen every day.
They talk about the perfect moment, right? And being ready for the perfect moment, you know.
Yes.
Knowing what you're going to get, pre-visualizing it. This is a beautiful one of the ocean. I think another time.
That's about quarter to half a second, and that will allow some structure in the water, whereas some of the others are completely smoothed out. This will preserve some of the structure. This will show you some of the motion. Quarter to half a second is a really good shutter speed. Like if you're shooting streams and things, and you want the motion of the water to be kind of visualized.
Chris Marquardt, discoverthetopfloor.com. And we'll talk about our assignment when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. These are so beautiful, Chris. And what camera are you using for these? Is your 5D?
Oh, that is the 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
Still plain old 5D.
I got out the 85. I love that lens. My Canon 85 1.2 lens and put it on the Sony. It's such a great lens.
And by the way, the most important accessory was the shower cap.
Because it's raining.
I'm not kidding you. We had photographers with us who had like specialized protection gear for their camera, really super specialized, expensive rain covers for their cameras. They didn't get those out. I handed out shower caps. Everyone just, when there was a little shower coming up, like an Irish 5-minute shower, we just put the shower caps over the cameras to protect them. And 5 minutes later, we took them off and continued shooting. And that was just the most convenient thing.
Tell me what post-processing you did on this image. This is a gorgeous image. It's obviously another...
Okay, this one is, well, first of all, the colors are pretty much that way. They are there. That's a sunset shot, so it was really important to be at the right time, at the right spot.
So deep, so
this is
rich.
On a beach, so I'm standing with my feet in water. I get this rock in the front, which gives it this nice red color. And that one I did brighten up a bit.
Just
in
gorgeous.
Lightroom with a brush. I brighten it up a bit to bring out the structure. The rest is nothing big on that. It really is a matter of having the tide at the right height, the sun being right down there where it makes the clouds really yellow. A lot of that really comes down to being at the right time, at the right spot.
Really gorgeous. Just beautiful. Wow.
I'm happy
and that,
with
is
them.
that
There-
a quarter
there are more to
second
come.
or is that longer?
That would be a 2-second shot, I guess. That was the beach, actually. What you see on the right is there's sand directly under it. So it was the waves washing up on the beach with some froth on them, and that gives it the structure. So that was about 2 seconds.
It's really, you do have to, and I've experienced this too, play with the time to get the water right.
I shot and shoot a lot. With this kind of a thing, it's impossible to predict where it'll go.
Right.
So I probably shot 30, 40 shots there.
At different
just continued
exposures
shooting.
and stuff. I have to order an ND filter. The problem is each lens
ND
needs
filters
a
are
unique
amazing.
one, unfortunately.
Oh, and that one also had, in addition to that, had an ND grad filter, which is this graduated filter where the top half is, I think, 3 stops lower. And that covers up the sky. So the clouds come down in brightness, and that gives it this depth because you have all the detail in the clouds and still have the foreground bright enough. So an ND grad, this is a combination of an ND filter and ND grad filter.
Jeez, you had 2 filters on it? Wow.
No, the ND grad filter actually held in front of the camera. So it's much more makeshift than you would think.
but yeah, see, the grad filter, I thought maybe this is an HDR, but see, with the grad filter, you don't have to do the HDR because it will darken the top part.
The HDR doesn't really work well with long exposures because you have 3 different motion profiles in there, and those are, you have to do a lot of compositing to get HDRs and long exposures together.
Always an inspiration. What's the assignment again?
Harvest.
Okay.
Week after next, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Have a great week.
Talk to you again next week.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Actually, I want to talk to you about Samsung right now. Samsung Smart Things. First of all, congratulations, Smart Things. They have been knocking it out of the park. Smart Things originally started, you might remember, as a Kickstarter project. They raised money because what they wanted to do is create a hub that talked to all the home automation devices and allowed you to use a single app on your iPhone or your Android phone or your Windows phone to completely control your home. People loved that idea. That's why they succeeded on Kickstarter. They built a great business. And Samsung bought them, I think, a year ago. And that's even better because Samsung Smart Things gives you even more control to make your home a smart home. We live in a smart world. After all, phones and light bulbs and even cups are all smart. But the problem is these smart devices aren't smart enough to work together. Samsung Smart Things changes everything, connecting all your favorite smart devices into one easy-to-use interface that lets you easily control, monitor, and secure your home anywhere you are. I love Samsung Smart Things. And their new hub just came out. Fantastic. With Smart Things, you can let your home know you're on your way, so the lights are on, the AC's turned up. It can unlock your door when you pull in the driveway. You can program different actions to happen when you're asleep, awake, at home, away. It makes a smart home easy, simple, and effective. If you've ever tried this before without Samsung Smart Things, you know how hard that is to do. They've made it so much better. Get an immediate alert on your smartphone, for instance, if water is detected where it doesn't belong. No contracts, no monthly fees, no messy installations. Smart Things is the easiest way to protect your home. And right now, 10% off any featured Smart Things kit and free shipping in the U.S. All you have to do is go to, let me type it in, smartthings.com/TTG. That's for the tech guy. And they'll show you the kits that you can get 10% off on and free shipping in the United States. It's a great deal. Energy saver kit. So cool. Smarten your home up. Smartthings.com/TTG and use the offer code TTG to save. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Let's talk high tech. Elliot, Boston, you're next. Hi, Elliot.
Hi.
Hey, Elliot, my old friend. How's Trix?
Good.
My young friend, I should probably say. What can I do to help you today?
Well, I was updating my Windows computer, and then something happened. They don't know what. I was at school, and then I come home, and whenever I try to turn it on, I get the blue screen and then the 2 dots and the frowny face.
2 dots and a frowny face. That's not good.
No.
Is this a Windows 10 machine?
Yeah, I upgraded it.
Yeah. Are you doing the Windows Insider program to get the latest versions?
I think so.
Yeah. I had the same thing happen to me with the first threshold update. I think it's 10. I want to say 152. In any event, I couldn't boot. Go right to the blue screen every time.
Yeah, like it said Windows repairing something.
Yeah,
And then it just
yeah.
went
I bet you this is. Well, it could be because you're doing beta version of Windows 10. In which case, what you'll want to do is get into the recovery mode and go roll it back.
Yeah, whenever I hit F1 to open and then I open boot, it won't let me.
Yeah, try F8.
F8? Okay.
F8. You want to get into the recovery mode. So there's 2 possibilities, and the only reason I mention this, and I confirmed that you are in the beta program, is I on my Dell was using Windows 10, and I signed up for the fast ring on the Windows Insider program. That means you get the latest updates, but of course it means you're also taking a chance. Some of these may be buggy. In my case, it was a blue screen. However, I just went through one of the recovery processes and applied the update again, and everything's fine. So I think it's just kind of maybe the install didn't work perfectly or something went wrong. Now, more commonly, if you have something like this, it means your hard drive had an issue, and during the update, something got messed up, and of course now it can't boot. The advice is the same, which is to try to do the Windows recovery. Windows 8 and 10 have an excellent recovery mode that lets you go back farther and farther back up to the point where you just can completely rebuild the computer. And I would just do, continue to do more and more until the thing works normally, and then apply the updates again. That's what I did. If it's a hard drive error, this isn't going to help. In fact, you may never be able to get in a recovery mode, and you may continue to get what we call, and you're getting it, the blue screen of death. And if it's so, is it a newer computer, Elliot?
No, not really. It's like 5 years old or so.
Yeah, it could very well just be the hard drive is flaky. That's the first thing to fail on almost any computer, because in most computers, that's one of the few moving parts. And of course, moving parts wear out. Non-moving parts, solid-state parts, tend to just go forever. So it could be that you'll need to go out and get a new hard drive. The good news is those are cheap.
Yeah.
But I would first try to roll it back. A blue screen is pretty serious. It means either, an application, for instance, can't cause, at least in theory, on modern operating systems, fatal crashes like that. It can't cause a blue screen of death on Windows or a kernel panic on a Mac, because applications aren't allowed to access the lowest levels of memory, system memory, and all they can do is, if they fail, is crash. They can't screw up the operating system. Drivers, however, have to be able to access system memory, what we call ring zero memory. The operating system itself, of course, can. So if there's an error, a corrupt file, something's damaged, maybe you downloaded a driver that didn't work or was poorly written, those can cause blue screens of death. So blue screens of death are almost always hardware-related or operating system/driver related. They have to be. It's such a serious flaw, the computer can't go on. It just says, I'm done. Here's a smiley face, but really it should be a frowny face, because I'm done. I can't go any further. I can't go on. Hey, great to talk to you, Elliot. We keep this up, pretty soon you'll be taking my job. Chuck, San Diego, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chuck.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have a question that I'm sure has been asked and answered on the show 3 years ago.
I don't mind. I'll do it again and again.
I appreciate it.
I don't expect you to listen to every episode.
Well, I still use an iPhone 4S.
Okay.
And it's rock solid. It's
sure.
I like tech. I like new stuff, but I don't like opening my wallet. So my son has...
And by the way, iPhones are not cheap.
Right. So my son has switched carriers, and he has an iPhone 5C that he's no longer using. It's on my carrier, and he's offered it to me. And the simple question is it worth switching over?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's a bigger screen. So you'll go from 3.5 inches on your 4S to 5 inches on the iPhone 5C. That gives you one more row of icons on the top, and increasingly applications are taking advantage of that extra screen space. So yes, bigger screen, that's good. Are you keeping up to date with iOS?
I am.
Okay. So all of the iOS features you've already got. And as far as I know, the new version of iOS, which comes out next week, will work with your 4S. So I think that in terms of functionality, you're pretty similar. Now, the hardware is the big difference. Bigger screen, better camera. I don't know if you use a camera, but that might make a difference to you. The 5C also has a fingerprint reader on it. Now, to me, that is a huge difference. In fact, nowadays, I think every smartphone should have a fingerprint reader because that is a much better way to identify yourself than a password. It's more accurate, but it's also faster and easier for you. So that would be another reason. For instance, if you wanted to use Apple Wallet, you can't, or Apple Pay, you can't use Apple Pay on the 4S. You can on the 5C. So there's a few reasons why you might want to take your son's 5C. What color is the back?
You know what? I don't remember. Blue, I think.
Okay, blue's not bad. If it were magenta, you might say, well, my daughter had bright yellow, and it was like, eh. But if it's blue, that's tasteful.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah, if your son's generous enough to do that. Every year, Apple releases a new iPhone. Every other year, there are major changes. So from the 4S to the 5, that was a big jump. The 5S, small jump. 6, big jump. The phones that are coming out next week, 6S, smaller jump, better camera, faster fingerprint reader, faster processor. Every year there's a faster processor. Those are more minor upgrades. It won't be until the iPhone 7 that you'll see another big jump. But it's true of all hardware, computer hardware. It's always good to have a little bit, the most recent one, because you're just going to get a little bit more power. You'll get a few extra years of updates, things like that. 8888 Ask Leo. 5C does not have the fingerprint reader. I am sorry. My apologies. I thought it did have Touch ID. So no Touch ID on the 5C, which means you can't use Apple Pay on the 5C because you need that fingerprint reader for true authentication. So the 5 had a maybe not. Maybe, you see, it's hard to remember. Didn't the 5? No, it was the 5S. Okay, so Apple didn't introduce the fingerprint reader to the 5S. 5C is effectively an iPhone 5. And the 5C is a 4-inch screen. So never mind what I said. It's just newer. Might be in better shape, might not. 80, I apologize. Thank you for the correction, chat room. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. I forgot the 5C was the previous year's. I only got a 65. Only got a 65 score on my ride-in. I'm ashamed of myself. Oh, and the 5S doesn't have NFC. If you had an Apple Watch, you could use it with Apple Pay. You're right. You're right. So this cost $450. Half what I will pay for a comparable. Little more than half what I'd pay for a comparable iPhone. Screen, 5.7 inches is bigger than the 6 Plus. It's a really beautiful screen too. Higher resolution, higher dots per inch. It is Android, so it depends on how you feel about Android versus iOS. Camera, probably not as good, but a pretty good camera. Battery life, probably not as good, but pretty darn good. It might be as good as the iPhone. We'll see. I have only had it for a couple of days. Does have NFC, and it uses NFC in a more general way than Apple allows. Apple only allows NFC to be used for Apple Pay. So, for instance, with NFC, I can pair this to my camera. My Sony camera has NFC, and it will run the Sony Play Memories app and copy stuff over from. I haven't set it up yet. So I did run the app, but I can't use it right away because I have to set this up. I don't. What are my objects? Oh, just pick one. What do you care, Sony? What do you care? Oh, now they're pairing. So it's connecting. So that's kind of cool. And that's something I wish I could do with the iPhone. It's going to be something I'll miss on the iPhone. On the other hand, this doesn't have a fingerprint reader, which I think every camera should have. Every smartphone should have. And more importantly, it's going into capture mode. So that's actually an interesting use of this. This allows me to use this as a remote. You have to tell it when you set it up not to use it that way. So I can snap a picture, you see. Which is kind of cool. And there's the picture. But I don't want to use it that way. I want to use it to copy. Anyway, you get the idea. I mean, if you wanted to use it as a capture mode too, that's pretty cool, right? So can't do that with an iPhone because they lock down the NFC for Apple Pay use. I think if you want to save money, you can give up the fingerprint reader, the optical image stabilization on the camera, and this is a good choice. You'd have to be comfortable with... I think the main reason people buy iPhones is because they want iOS, right? And the hardware, too. These phones, like Nexus phones, are updated by, right away. And this is carrier unlocked, which is nice. And it's got a wooden back. And it comes with a bumper case, which I'm undecided on right now. But there is no Hermes Android Wear watch. So it's really fast. I have to say they've done a nice job, even though it's not the latest Snapdragon. It's an 808, not a 810. But I have to say it feels very, very swift, very, very responsive. This is slow because of the internet, but yeah, so I'm not sure how this is going to work. It says 7 hours left to get me to 8. Of course, I took it off the charger at 3 a.m. and then I charged it briefly. I've kind of screwed it up a little bit. Charged it for about half an hour at 11 a.m. 20% screen time. I think my guess is that the battery life is going to be very good on this. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about tech. Computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, Apple TV, anything on your mind. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, well, use Skype. You can always reach us there. Great website, if I do say so myself, at least in terms of the content, techguylabs.com. In there, we put all the show notes, everything I talk about, all the links, audio and video of the show after the fact. It's a free and I hope you will use it resource for you. If you just visit techguylabs.com, for instance, a link will be there to all of Chris Marquardt's photos of Ireland, things like that. techguylabs.com. On we go with Payam in Los Angeles. Hello, Payam.
Hi, Leo. Thank you so much for your wonderful program. Learning a lot, and
thank you.
Really enjoyed learning some photography from Chris as well.
Yes.
I have a question about the website we have at befireprepared.com.
Oh, good. I like the name.
Yeah, the name does it all, and we just got a product that's the only one that's actually safe and green fire suppressant for families and for home.
Okay.
The website, we set it up on Popular for now, just so that we have a platform that's manageable and it's accessible. But the challenge, me and my partner, we were working, putting something together on that business partner. It's not manageable as far as doing SEO or be able to optimize or do anything. But as far as a simple platform that we can be able to get access in the back of it and be able to post things or change something real quick, I wanted to get your feedback on it. If you can look at it, it's very cookie cutter.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Popular, so I'm glad it's POPULR.
Yes.
.me is the address for the company, popular.me. And so their selling points, first of all, it's a little expensive, $20 a month. Their selling point is it's easy. That's a good selling point. And that they give you stats. Know when pages are opened, know what things your visitors look at. Do they provide you with e-commerce?
The e-commerce, I didn't see any good platform for e-commerce, so I tried to connect that through getting links to PayPal or ECW or something else.
They do something right here on their front page that bugs me. It says employees from some of the finest companies in the world use Popular. Doesn't mean these companies use Popular, although they're using the company's logos. It means that people who work at these companies use it. That's a little of a, I don't know, misrepresent. It's not a misrepresentation, but if you look at it carefully, you realize that's really not that Dell or Farmers or Warner Music is using it, just people who work there. So here's the negatives. It's expensive. It doesn't offer you e-commerce, which I think is a little bit of an issue.
Set up an external e-commerce for now.
Yeah, but you want to have it built in. I mean, because you're selling something, right? The whole idea is to sell your product.
New product. This is a totally new product. We got to California. The product is being sold many places. And
I mean, the site looks good. You were able to do this all by yourself, basically, right?
And it took 1 day to do it, so they're not kidding.
That's nice.
Easy to do.
And how about the stats you're getting from them?
The stats are not that very helpful because it's not really optimized for a search engine to be able to come in the search engine.
Yeah.
They just give you some basic stats, but it hasn't been that very useful.
So I'm going to do something that I know everybody who's listening will expect me to do, which is recommend our sponsor, Squarespace. They are less expensive, more capable. They're maybe a little harder to use, but what they do offer, which is great, is a 2-week free trial, no credit card or anything. You just set it up. That would give you some idea of whether the platform does what you need it to do. Even the $8 a month version has e-commerce on it.
Is it squarespace.com?
Squarespace.com. If you're very serious about selling, there are, of course, companies that are dedicated to selling, to commerce. I don't like, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. I don't like the idea of you having a site and then I click a link to buy and it takes me to a different place. That makes people nervous. We've trained people, and I think rightly so, to be cautious, especially when giving out credit card information. And when you're on one site and you click a link and it takes you to some other site and then asks for credit card information, we've trained people that's not good. That's cause for concern. We know that about 70% of all shopping carts are abandoned before the person presses the buy button. They go through the process of adding the product to the cart. They may even add some information, but then they go, gosh, I don't know about this, and they don't hit the buy button. 70%. So, and I think that's right, because when you're giving out a credit card, you really want to know that that data is going to be protected. People are more and more nervous about that. So Shopify.com, they're all about commerce. The commerce is within the site. You don't get this sensation of, I don't know what's going on here. Now I'm at PayPal and they want me to send them money. Who are they? I think you'll get better results. Same thing with Squarespace. And in both cases, you're going to get much better statistics and information about visitors, what they do, things like that. I'm not familiar with Popular. I'd have to look in more depth to see. But right off the top of, looking at $20 a month, that's a lot. Seems like it's a little bit limited. Doesn't offer e-commerce. If you want the full commerce package from Squarespace, that's $25 a month. And they're a much better hosting and software company. Shopify, similar. BigCommerce is another one, bigcommerce.com. There are a lot of these where they're really designed more for what you want to do. Now, the site looks fine. I mean, it's a good-looking site. I wouldn't be scared off by the site. I am a little, for what you're paying, there shouldn't be an ad for Popular on your site, and there is. At the top of the page, which you can close, and then at the bottom of the page, which you cannot, there is an ad for their service. That also kind of, I see an ad for a web hosting company on a company's page. That makes me think you guys aren't that serious. So I think it's very important when you have a website. Your goal here is to give people some confidence that you're safe, reliable, that you're a real company, not some guy created a site and then took you to his PayPal and said, "Send me money." That would make me nervous. I have to give you the disclaimer. Squarespace is a sponsor. Those other companies are not, but Squarespace is. So take that with a grain of salt. I do like that Squarespace lets you just try it for 2 weeks for free, just to see. I certainly would take advantage of that. 8888 ask Leo. Paul in Tarzana. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I bought a iPad Air 2, and I put apps on it and everything. And last week, well, it started from the beginning. Sometimes it would just reboot itself. And last Wednesday night, it rebooted itself, and then I got the Apple logo for about 4 hours. And I called Apple Care, and they think that it was probably hardware or possibly software. So I took it to the Apple Store yesterday. I do have it in accessibility mode also. Let me put that in. And luckily, it started acting up with the guy at the shop. So he said, okay, I'll give you a new iPad. Do not download from the iCloud because it could be something still in the software. And so I re-put all my apps in last night. I was up until about 1:30. And one of my apps, it rebooted. So
now we know.
Yes, I took that app out. And
we're going to have to hear the end of the story in a minute. I got to take a break. Hang on, okay?
Okay, sure.
I can't wait to find out what happens. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 ask Leo. We were talking to Paul in Tarzana. He's got the latest iPad, the iPad Air 2. Suddenly was crashing. And there's two kinds of crashes that an iPad can go through, or any iOS device. One is a true crash. I think that's what you had because it took so long to get it back. There's another simpler crash called a respring. The user interface on iPhones and iPads is called Springboard by Apple internally. If that crashes, and that can, in fact, in previous versions of iOS, it crashed a lot, then you'll get everything will go, it'll look like, then you'll get the Apple logo, but within 20 seconds, everything will come back up. That's just Springboard reloading, but it does look like a crash. Sounds like you had something more serious. Kudos to Apple. You're lucky you got it to happen in the store because they saw it and they go, wow, you need a new iPad. But now you think it's an app that you've been using.
Possibly. I took the app out and I put all my apps in. I was up until about 1:30 last night doing it. And I went to do another app, a TV app, and it happened again. And even, I don't know if it's related, but I watch you on my iPad, and your show is frozen a couple of times today.
That's much more likely just bandwidth.
Okay.
It doesn't crash the computer, right?
No, it's not crashing. It's not giving me the Apple, but that just started today also.
That's probably a bandwidth issue. When you see the white apple on a black screen, that's a reasonable cause for concern. And by the way, this doesn't let Apple off the hook because one of the selling points of iOS is that Apple approves every application and is very careful to only approve applications that work properly and don't have bugs. But it's impossible to get everything. So, is it this one application every time?
Well, I've taken the application off.
Yeah.
So, and it's still happening.
Well, it's possible that installing the application modified the system in some way. So you might have to do I hate to say it since you spent all night, a reset. Here's the thing. Apple is not going to give you another iPad because it's clearly not the iPad, right? It's highly unlikely you get two with the same problem. So now we got to think, it's some software that you're running. In fact, I think it would be of interest to Apple to find out what program is causing this problem because they probably would like to get that fixed. So it still crashes doesn't necessarily mean, because removing the app doesn't necessarily mean you're removing everything. Do you have a backup of the new iPad?
It's in the cloud.
Yeah.
But I think it would probably have the problem in the cloud also.
Yeah. I guess what you could do is do another restore, basically a factory restore. You'll find that in the general settings. You can erase everything and start over. I know you don't want to. You spent all night doing it already. But if that fixes it, then and don't install that app again. It's possible that that installing the app modified the iPad in such a way that it's continued to crash even when the app's gone. That's less likely because usually those kinds of crashes are memory leaks or some sort of kind of significant flaw in the app. It's a TV app. What does it do?
The TV app was where you can log on to the app and you can look at previous programs. You can.
What's the name of the app?
CMT, the Country Music TV.
I would look in the App Store, make sure it's approved for later iPads. See what the date is on the most recent release, for instance. I can't imagine that the Country Music Channel would have problems with their app. People would complain. I'm sure millions have downloaded it. So this is a puzzle, frankly.
Do you think also it could be, since
I think it could be another app, frankly, another app that's already installed.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Ready to say.
Yeah. Which makes it hard for you to figure this out. The only way to do it for sure is to reset, erase everything, start from scratch, and install an app a day. The apps that are safe to install are the Apple apps. Widely used apps, like the Google apps, or you're not going to have a problem with a Google app. You can reinstall all of those. It's maybe the stuff that's less modern, perhaps. It's an interesting puzzle. I don't know. I can't imagine it's the country music app. Are there any apps that you use that are really oddball?
Some of them are. One of them was for texting.
Be a little careful of those. What's the name of that one?
Oh,
it's a message.
I think it was called Text Me.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. In theory, nothing should be available in the App Store that crashes your iPad. On the other hand, something's crashing your iPad because it's conceivable you got two bad ones in a row, but not likely at all. So it's got to be, I would look at the reviews of the apps that you're maybe suspicious of. And, what you're going to have to probably do is restart, go back in those settings, erase everything, start over again. If you've got the iPad, and use it for a few days and see if it's reliable, and then slowly re-add apps. Start with the apps that are from big, well-known companies. You'd think the CMT, here's what I would do as install the CMT app first. I bet that's a coincidence. There's no way with the many other people who've installed that app that that's going to be a problem. You want to look for apps that either are really old and haven't been updated or that just came out yesterday. It's very easy, even on a major app, to put a bug in there and go, oh my goodness, Apple's even done that with its updates. We're going to take a break, talk to Jeff in Allston, Massachusetts when we come back. Lots more Tech Guy still to come. Don't forget the website, techguylabs.com. It's your ultimate resource for everything we mentioned on the show today. And you can leave comments if you've had problems with your iPad respringing or rebooting your Air 2, and there's a program you think is causing it, and you want to help Paul out. That's where to do that, on the website, techguylabs.com. Just, look for hour number 3, Paul's question. You can put a comment right there. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. He got a brand new iPad, so it's highly unlikely those crashes are coming from the hardware. I have an iPad Air 2. I haven't had a day from any problems ever. Ever. So I don't know. And I have a lot of apps because I try apps for iPad today on this thing. I got a lot of renegade apps. Are you ready to talk some printing? Let's talk printing. Let's talk Epson Workforce printers. Man, I love my Epsons. Epson Workforce printers that are using this new precision core technology, originally developed for industrial printers 40, this is almost mind-boggling, 40 million dots per second. And the dots are anywhere from really tiny nanoliters to larger droplets of ink, depending on what's needed, and they do that all on the fly. 40 million dots per second. It's incredible. So these are fast printers, faster than probably you've ever seen, and they work so well. Have you seen the new EcoTank printers too? Epson's doing. I love this. Thank you, Epson. EcoTank printers mean you don't have to add ink, but once a year, eliminating kind of the number one expense, frankly, in printing, the cost of the ink. Epson is all about making your life better. Use Workforce with Precision Core. It's better than a laser printer. It's more affordable. There's no warm-up time. You can print on a wide range of media. They're very energy efficient. I am a big fan. And now with EcoTank, man, you're saving 2 years of ink. I guess it depends how much you print. 11,000 black pages, 8,500 color pages. It's about equivalent of 50 ink cartridge sets. Yeah, that's got to be 2 years. Depends on how often you change your cartridges. Print shop quality with the new Precision Core-based Workforce printers, and real savings with the new EcoTank Super Tank printers. Epson, they're just killing it. They're the best. I use it for all my printing. Epson.com. Find out what the new Workforce printers can do for you and your business, and you'll find out all about the EcoTank printers as well. EPSON. Epson. Built to perform. They got the Workforce printers, the ET4500. Now I want to buy a new one. I just got my Workforce, and they came out with these. This is brand new. This just came out, the EcoTanks. Man. Brilliant. Now, if you got a big business, 20,000 pages before you change the ink. See how big those cartridges are? And they're very low cost. I mean, this is really a good solution. It cuts the cost on laser printers about 70%. 20 page per minute in black and color. 20 pages a minute. 3 seconds per page. You get the Precision Core. You get a 500 sheet feeder, 80 sheet rear tray. This is perfect for your work group. 2-sided printing, copying, scanning, and faxing. 35-page document feeder. I use that one all the time on my Workforce. Your next printer is going to be an Epson, isn't it? Sure it is. Nice. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Jeff is in Alston, Mass. Hi, Jeff.
Yes, hello.
Good to talk to you.
My question is about surveillance cameras.
Are you going to spy on somebody?
I hope to. I live in a condominium building, and we've had some break-ins, so we're looking at surveillance systems. They're ferociously expensive.
Yes.
And the big question is, we need a camera that will produce an image good enough to use in a court of law. Right. Otherwise, there's no point in having the system. And we're being warned away from wireless cameras and internet storage cameras because they're telling me the image quality, the bandwidth just isn't good enough. If we want the best, we have to pay to have the building wired. And it's really expensive.
I disagree with that.
Opinion.
I disagree with that. We're using a Synology hard drive designed for security cameras. We have a variety of cameras, so we're using a hardwired system, but that's just because we want to have it local. John, do you know what kind of I think we have a kind of heterogeneous mix, but in the years gone by, we've always used drop cams. Most cameras are going to have at least one connection, which is for power. Can you do that?
I think so. We have hall lights that are on 24 hours a day. We could probably tap
into that.
Hall lights.
Yeah. And you're going to, these drop cams do have night vision. Many cameras do. But it's better if you want really a good picture of the crook. And there's I have to walk through a lighted area. These are HD cameras. These are 1080p, and the quality is superb. Now, the ability to recognize somebody depends on how close to the camera they come. So you definitely want to consider that in placement of camera. For instance, if you've got a lit corridor, they have to walk through, and you put the camera there, they're going to have to get within a few feet of that camera. You're going to have a great shot of them. So I've been very happy with these drop cams. They're from Google, actually, which owns Nest. So that's Nest is the company. I guess they've renamed them Nest Cam. What do we use, John, for our cameras, or Burke? What do we use for our security cameras? I think we may use a mix of these because we had these Nest cameras. Hey, John, do you know what we're using to hook up to this Synology? Do you know what we use for cameras for the Synology? Off the top of your head, you don't. There are quite a few different makes. There are some that use batteries even for the power. The problem with that is they're not continuous. They can't be. The battery in them would run out, within a few days. So they only turn on when there's motion. And they may not do a great job.
Well, the other question is whether you want me to record off of my desktop computer with a terabyte hard drive, or whether you want me to buy a special recorder dedicated to this purpose that will turn the cameras off when there is no motion.
Yeah. We record locally, but Nest Cam, their new name, will, for a subscription fee, offer you online cloud recording. The one advantage of that is you can access it from anywhere. So you don't have to go to the hardware to do it. Oh, we're using Access cameras. These are excellent cameras. I've used these for years, the AXIS cameras. We're using those in some cases as well. These are really superb quality professional surveillance cameras. Similar situation. I think they use Wi-Fi, or at least they certainly have some that use Wi-Fi. That'd be another company I'd look at. I've used Access cameras for a long time, and they're very
And are
good.
you satisfied with the quality of the images
Of
that you get
both
back from the cloud?
Yeah, absolutely. But I certainly would, so it's cheaper to record locally. Not as convenient. You don't have as much flexibility, but it's certainly cheaper to record locally. And you have the advantage then of you have the full quality video. You could just copy it off for law enforcement very easily. On the other hand, I'm pretty happy with the Nest cams. I guess, and people in the chat room are saying, if you have closed circuit, if you can wire it, you're going to probably be more reliable. You could jam Wi-Fi signals. There are all sorts of things you could do with Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi's not always up, but so maybe if you're really serious about this and you wire it. I think we've wired ours, but gosh, we had such great results for years using these drop cams. Now Nest cams, so I feel like the quality's there. If you want to check it out, if you go to their website, which is nest.com, you can actually see video. There are some public Nest cams. You can see what the video looks like. You could see if it would be adequate to what you want. And they do have this night vision. It's a black and white image, but it's a pretty clear image. I feel like these are good cameras. I'm not an expert on this, and I know that we've used both Nest cams and these new Axis cams. AXIS Communications. It's AXIS.com. Either one a good choice. I'm not an expert, however. Ask law enforcement in your area. What do they recommend? Dee Dee in Minneapolis. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Dee Dee.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
I'm great. How are you?
Let me pull over here for a second.
Oh, yeah, let's be safe.
Signal on you.
Let's be safe. Don't want to have any issues.
I just don't want to lose the signal on you, that's all.
Yeah. So many stories, though, we're hearing these days of people having video of burglars. You see it on the local news all the time, and these guys getting busted. One of our sponsors, the Ring Video Doorbell, caught a bad guy the other day in Los Angeles. Some guys broke into a house. The homeowner got a notification from his video doorbell and called the police. They searched the neighborhood, got the guys, got his stuff back. So, I think life is tough for a burglar these days. You're all safe now, Dee Dee?
Yeah. We're sitting down here.
Okay. What can I do for you?
Well, I've got a Galaxy S3. Not quite 2 years. I got it October 13. Lately, the last 6 months or so, I've been having some issues with it. Kind of like freezing up. Like little game apps, like most of everything I've got.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. The S3 is, I
I'll
mean,
be playing solitaire, cars will start jittering, and then it'll just flat out freeze up. Sticky blocks do the same thing, and then they'll freeze up. I can't get anything to move.
so a couple of solutions. First of all, it is an older phone. It's 3 years old. And the new Galaxy S6, for instance, processor is much faster. But I have to point out, the Galaxy S6, I also get hesitation on. I think Samsung overlays their own TouchWiz interface on top of Android, and I find it to be a little sluggish. So that may be one thing you're seeing, and certainly an older phone would be more sluggish. On phones that have a more pure version of Android, the OnePlus 2, for instance, my new Moto X, the Nexus phones, I never see this hesitation, even with slower processors. So part of it is Samsung's fault, and they're notorious for this problem. It's, I think, partly lack of memory, lack of RAM. For instance, the new Galaxy Note 5, which has, how much, 4 gigs of RAM? It's got a lot of it, I think so. Never see any sluggishness. Never any hesitation, even with the same software that the Galaxy S6 has. It's same processor, just more RAM. This Moto X has 3 gigs of RAM. And is very snappy. I feel like memory is one of the things that Android needs more of. So a newer phone would help, but I know you just got this one. So the other thing to do is to wipe it, to do a complete reset. That's available in the settings menu. Don't install, more modern games expect a faster processor. So they may be a bad choice because they're games that just came out and expect you to have more speed. But try wiping it, use the reset capability, and then judiciously installing new apps. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
If you've been waiting for football season to check...
I'm not waiting anymore. Football season's here. Are you ready for some football? Going to have a great twit today. Very excited about that. Ben Thompson from Stratechery is with us. I just got an update on my Nexus 7. I should see. Let's get the Zimperium. Let's see if this fixed stage fright. The stage fright is still a vulnerability on the Moto X, which is using the latest version of Android. That's not good, is it? Let me look at the stage fright detector on this. Zimperium's is the one to use. The Lookout one doesn't test for the most recent flaw. Seattle lost? Yeah. Always glad to hear that. Let's see if we've got if this update fixed stage fright. It was just a little 13 meg update on the Nexus 7. Yes, it did. So Google is pushing out now on its Nexus devices a fix for that most recent stage fright issue. So that's good news. Beatmaster, I understand that from the point of view of the United Nations and mainland China, Taiwan is not China, but Taiwan thinks it's China, like Hong Kong. I don't know. It's hard. That's a hard one. That's political. That's not geographic. The Android fingerprint vulnerability was not an Android vulnerability, but a vulnerability caused by poor implementation in some phones. It was never an issue, for instance, on the S6 or the Note 5. So that was really just a vendor vulnerability. So I would, you'd have to check and see. This is not a global Android vulnerability. But I will be very careful not to call him to say he's from China. I'll say he's from Taiwan. I'm well aware of the issues. I was a Chinese major in college, so it's not that I'm ignorant. It's that I'm old-fashioned. They can't be in the UN because China says no. They're not China. We're China. They're just an outlaw nation. Oh boy, are we gonna have fun? Ed Bott, Renee Ritchie, and Ben Thompson. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. Zimperium's is the one to use, UJ. Unfortunately, the Lookout app does not detect the latest. There was one extra stage fright vulnerability, and many Android devices are still vulnerable to that last one. So get the Zimperium stage fright detector. But I'm happy to say the Nexus 7 got the update. Yeah. Well, it would have been last week because I only come in on the weekends and see it. It is not the Orient. I won't say that. Ed Bott, Renee Ritchie. Ed Bott's, of course, a complete Windows bigot. Renee Ritchie, complete Mac bigot. Ben Thompson is a crypto Mac bigot. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a battle royale. Yeah, and the little Google logo now. But they pushed that out as an app update. John, Yorba Linda, California. You're next, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, John.
Hey, Leo. All right. So the question I have for you is that I videotaped my daughter's volleyball game. I have a Sony Action Cam.
Yeah.
And it's pretty similar to the GoPro.
Yeah.
Each match, let's say at a typical day, there's about 6 matches. So each match is about 20 to 25 minutes. So we're looking at maybe almost 3 hours.
Wow.
Of videotape. And so after I tape them, then I usually will go home and I will upload them to YouTube. And then also I will, copy them onto maybe a flash drive or something for the coach, so the coach can review them.
That's very nice of you. That's great.
Yeah. So the problem I'm having is that I have a really slow upload speed apparently with my provider.
Not unusual. Almost all internet service providers in the U.S. are what we call asymmetric. And everybody focuses on the big number, the 20 megabits down. They rarely focus on that second number, 1.5 megabits up. But now we're all uploading more, aren't we? So it is more important.
Okay.
So what were you quoted by your internet service provider as your bandwidth?
Yeah, I think they said it was like 2 or something.
2 up?
It was, 2 up.
That's pretty typical. Those systems, that's artificially created. They could make it symmetric. The reason they don't is just historic. People, in the old days, nobody uploaded. Everybody was downloading. They're visiting websites, stuff like that, getting email. And if you uploaded, it was occasional email. But now we're uploading 4K. You got 4K video you're trying to get on YouTube.
Exactly.
Just do it overnight, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. The funny thing is that we were at an away tournament a couple of months back. I did the same thing, videotaped it, hooked it up to my computer using the hotel's Wi-Fi, and I had all of it uploaded probably within a few hours.
Isn't that nice?
Wow, yeah.
So you could go to your internet service provider and say, I need more upload speed. What is the next tier? And you'll pay more for it. Occasionally you can get symmetric. Some providers, Google, for instance, with their gigabit service, it's symmetric.
Okay.
Symmetric is, a higher upload speed will make a difference. There's a few reasons you don't even get the upload speed they quote. For instance, if you were to use all 2 megabits, nobody would be able to use the internet at all. Because every internet transaction, even visiting a web page, requires a little bit of an upload from your system. If you saturate your upstream connection, they're not going to be able to download. So almost all systems make sure that you don't use every bit you're capable of using. So that even lowers it even more. The other thing is when they sell it, they say up to 2 megabits, right? They don't say guaranteed 2 megabits. This is the sad state of consumer internet in the United States. It's really, it's ironic that we created this. We use it more than anybody else. Most of the big internet companies are in the U.S., and yet we have really about the worst internet service for the price we pay. And you can lay that right at the door of lack of competition. It's not like you have a lot of places you can go for better service.
That's true.
You got really two pipes into your house, cable or telephone. DSL and cable.
Well, the other question I have for you is that now, what would you recommend as far as when I do, copy the videos and give them to the coaches? What is probably the best? Because I know, like on just a regular flash drive, I can only get a couple of videos on.
Yeah. So you're recording probably at a higher quality than they need. So you might use a program to do something called transcoding or recompressing the video to make it smaller. You're probably going to want to put it in a format that you're sure they can see. That's probably MPEG-4. And you can. I would recommend a program that's free. It's called Handbrake, HANDBRAKE, like a handbrake in a car. .fr, France. It's a French program. It's a transcoding program. It'll take the Sony video. Sony also gave you an app that you could use. Handbrake might be a little more straightforward. It'll transcode it, and you can say how big you want the file to be or how high quality you want it to be. That will help, too. Remember, YouTube doesn't need probably all the quality that's coming off of that camera. Do you want those videos on YouTube to be 4K, for instance? You might be happy with HD.
Right.
So you could transcode it, then upload it to YouTube. YouTube has some guidelines on what quality video is best to send them. Might be that you're sending higher quality video than you need to.
Yeah, because I looked through the manual and then the YouTube had the little box on the side that said you're uploading at a slower speed or whatever. Try this, but it was way too technical, and I tried to figure it out. But
get Handbrake, and you'll be able to convert it to a format that's. YouTube wants MPEG-4, so that's fine. Maybe do it lower quality and send it to YouTube. Do some experiments with short videos just to see what quality is ideal, and then you'll figure out. And then what you'll do is you'll get a workflow that's standardized that you just go through every time you come home from a volleyball tournament. You go, here's the video, crunch it through this stuff, and here's a version for the coaches, here's a version for YouTube, here's a version I'm going to keep. You'll probably want to keep the high quality because you got plenty of storage, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right.
I got another quick question for you.
Sure.
Real quick.
Yeah.
My daughter has a iPhone 5C. Yesterday, left it out on top of a table in the backyard. Dog got to it and started biting it.
The dog ate my iPhone.
The dog ate my iPhone, exactly.
Wow.
I looked out the window and said, what's that pink thing on the
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So anyway, and it powers on. We can see the screen, but obviously, down at the bottom where you can, swipe to open it up, or at least to put in her code, we can't do that.
You probably need to get a new digitizer. The good news is I'm sure there's an iPhone repair company in your neck of the woods. They're all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
They're springing up like mushrooms. And the 5C is fairly repairable. The 5s were pretty repairable. Later phones, it's more expensive, but the 5, you can, for about $100, you'll be able to replace the digitizer in the screen. That might be enough. They might even be able to put a new plastic back on it. Are there tooth marks in the pink?
In the what?
In the pink plastic, are there tooth marks?
No.
Oh, good. All right.
No, it's just the top, and then we plugged it in, and it's charging.
Yeah, it's probably just that screen. So the screen is laminated together with a display and what they call a digitizer, which is the thing that senses your finger. You're seeing the screen, but your finger's not being sensed at the bottom. That's a broken digitizer, and that can be replaced.
Oh, okay.
They replace the whole unit, the screen and the digitizer together.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Problem. Thank you, Leo.
Have a good one. Take care. My dog ate my iPhone. I think probably those 5Cs are more desirable from a puppy's point of view because they got those colorful plastic backs. They probably look like a dog toy. Leave it out on the table there. The dog said, hey, dinner. Probably not good for the dog either. Hey, thanks to Nathan Staten. Great job, Nathan, today. Doing he's our musical director, spinning the hits. Thanks also, of course, to Heather Humman, our phone ranger, answering the calls and looking elegant while she does it. Thanks, most of all, of course, to you. Thank you for being here. We'll be back next week. Got lots more to talk about. New phones, new computers, new stuff all the time. I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll be looking for you. Have a great Geek Week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today and Tech News Tonight. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.